and welcome to A Filthy Talk, Filthy Lot's weekly live panel discussion show, coming to you live from North Vancouver on the traditional lands of the Squamish Nation. We would like to recognize the privilege we have to work, play, and create on these beautiful lands, and we encourage you at home to comment in the chat, or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment in the section below, in the comments section, and tell us what traditional lands you're watching from. Because if you know, awesome. If you don't know, look it up. History is important, especially if you don't want to repeat it. You know what I mean? So this is a little bit of a throwback, feels like, in a way, but also, I don't know where Roz is. This is the first time this has happened. So Matt, have you heard from Roz at all? No?
No. She's disappeared somewhere.
Yeah, normally I would say, anyway, I'm Trevor Gemma. Next to me is usually sitting Roz Young, and returning as fact checker and chat liaison, and now moderator on Twitch, Matt Baker. Thank you for being here, man.
No problem.
Normally I would do nerd news here. I mean, I have something to talk about. So I was reading an article earlier, which is interesting, and I don't know how I feel about it, but in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie that's coming out, like, I think early next year, I already knew that Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, is going to be in that movie, but it was an article that was all about her accent. And like, because when she started in Ultron, she had the like Sokovian accent.
Yeah.
And then apparently at the behest of the Russo brothers, when she did Civil War, they were like, well, you've been in America for a while, and like you've been speaking more English, so like maybe we'll lessen the accent.
Yeah.
And then by the time you got to like Infinity War and that kind of thing, it was just kind of gone. And what's happening now is Elizabeth Olsen, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's feeling more ownership of the character and feels like she knows the character more, so she's going to bring the accent back and be more herself, apparently. Which I was like, I don't know how I felt about the accent to begin with. Oh, and the more interesting thing was like in WandaVision. Did you watch WandaVision?
Yes.
So the whole like different genre, or not, era, sitcom per episode, which was really cool. She's justifying it as Wanda was keeping to her like American sort of dream, like fantasy life, and that's why she didn't have the accent at all. And they even made reference to the accent in the show, which was kind of funny. But how do you feel about it?
I don't really have a problem with it either way. I'm a big fan of fictional accents that, you know, I like to pick and choose things from different areas and kind of blend them into something. So, you know, I'm in favor of it in that way. I don't know how much they've actually done that, or if they're just doing more of a like straight Eastern European, although even that is vague because that's,
Yeah, I think it was, the Sokovian felt very like sort of vaguely Eastern European.
Yeah.
But are you a Bo Burnham fan?
Yes.
Do you know about the new special?
I heard that there is a new special, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So 5 years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, Bo Burnham had only done 2 specials. I mean, he started as a YouTube guy, and then he did 2 specials and said because he was developing massive anxiety and having like panic attacks on stage, he swore off live performance. But he is now wrote, shot, edited, and performed completely on his own over the course of a year, a special within his own little like studio workspace at home, and it's mind-blowingly cool.
That's awesome.
It's wild.
Yeah, his first special, I was watching it while Roz was away doing something. She got home and I was like, we're watching this right now, like after I'd just finished it.
Yeah, he's a genius. He just, I don't know how else to describe it. He makes me feel like I should just stop trying to make things.
He was great casting in Promising Young Woman.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Yeah, I won't say any more, just, you know, for people who haven't seen it, but he's in it and he's awesome.
Oh, okay. So do you, in lieu of Roz still not being here, do you have anything for nerd news?
Well, I got really excited about Raiders of the Lost Ark's 40th anniversary being this Saturday, and then I realized it's next Saturday.
Oh.
And it deflated me a little bit, and so no, I got nothing.
Okay, okay.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Oh, hi!
Hello, darling.
Hi.
I'm here. Trinket. Trinket. We're ready for the episode.
Okay.
Yes. Go on.
What's happening? I know we talked about the potential of doing a cosplay episode, but I thought we decided against that.
What? No. Oh, Josh, you can just go.
Yeah, because I don't really. I mean, I know what we're talking about, but I don't really know the show, so I didn't.
That's what the episode's about, though, right?
No.
Sorry, man.
I mean, to be fair, wrong campaign.
Shush you. Shush you.
Oh, come on.
Bye, Trinket.
He's
Well,
just
I
unbearable.
love you, darling. Okay, I'm here. What'd I miss?
We were just talking nerd news and stuff. So, who are you dressed as?
Oh, I'm dressed as Vexalia from Critical Role, Campaign 1.
Oh, okay. See, I wouldn't know.
Speaking of nerd news, there's big news. Big Critical Role news. Tonight.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And we're going to talk about it.
Well, I mean, you can set it up now, and then we'll bring people out.
It's sad but happy news that it is the final episode of Campaign 2 of Critical Role. The Mighty Nine! This is the end! So, we talked about maybe we should bring on two of the biggest
We did.
the biggest fans of Critical Role here with
So
us.
yeah, a couple of the biggest fans of Critical Role we have. Not all the fans we have, but a couple of them. I see him first, so I'm going to introduce him first. You've seen him before on the show, on this show, and also, oh wow, mind blanking, train noise messing me up. Director, writer of PLD, which you'll be able to see soon in a funny lot, and segment producer for our One Shot or Not, Tim Rutherford. Come to the stage, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Here's Tim!
Welcome.
What's up?
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I like your cactus shirt.
Thank you. It was a gift from a beautiful person.
Oh, that's
Aw,
nice.
how nice.
You can say hi to them.
Hey, Andrea. Hope you're watching. Love you.
And also joining us tonight for the first time on A Filthy Talk, I'm going to say off the top, I'm sorry that it's been so long, but amazing help around the studio, throws his hat into, anyone asks, will you help with this? Always says yes. And recent Dungeon Master for the first time, Andrew Sutton. Please come to the stage, sir. Ow!
Woo-woo!
Hi. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
First
Thank you for having me.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that it's been weird to get things on like people on topic and making sure I'm getting everyone through the roster. But so apologies, but welcome.
It happened when it had to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are massive Critical Role fans. You're both Critical Role fans, but are you up to date?
No, we are pretty significantly behind.
Oh.
I've
I've got
we
mine.
stopped watching when before we filmed Ready to Roll to just, feel better about our own world building and campaign and stuff. And we sort of got behind and then just never caught back up. So we're, I think, exactly 100 episodes behind.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, I have you beat in that I've never watched an entire episode.
Oh.
So I'm sorry, but I will be playing the part of the layman tonight.
You're really missing out. Like,
I'll watch it at
out.
some point. I mean, okay, what? Campaign 2 episode tonight is episode 144?
141.
141? 141 episodes that are either 3 or 4 hours long, typically.
Yeah, they have more content than The Simpsons.
That, what?
Really?
Or like
Hourly?
a year ago, they surpassed The Simpsons.
Wow.
That's insane.
Well, I mean, it takes 4 episodes to match one of theirs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They have 2 campaigns worth over 140 episodes.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Almost 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours each. So
Yeah.
There's some
we
long
realized that the
haul.
other day. I was like, okay, how fast can we catch up? And I was like, wait, that's 400 hours of.
After so many hours invested in it, though, like you can really put it on like 1.25 on the podcast and just like listen to it and like.
That's fair.
Yeah, because you really become a part of the table, and then like their immersion level has been really something that we at One Shot or Not are like really striving to succeed at, because like that table play, I know Roz agrees, that like connection at the table is something very special, and I think they nail it.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
I guess I'd like to hear about your guys' start getting into Critical Role, like, because it was 2015 the start of Campaign 1.
So long ago.
It was so long. But like, did you start in Campaign 1? Did you catch up? Like, what was your journey with those guys?
Go ahead.
I mean, I'd heard the name of the show before, and just weird nerdy circles on random. It would just come up, and it was something that was stuck in my head. And eventually, I finally fell into it and got watching it in very beginning of Campaign 2.
Oh, okay.
So it took me. I had about 10 episodes to kind of binge up to get current, and then the season 1 stuff, I'm just trying to go back and forth to, but there's so much. There's so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an unreal amount.
Sorry?
Turn your fan off? Oh, okay.
Mine's
There you
not.
go.
Oh, they-
Sorry, that was our
fans
sound
blowing
guy,
into
Chris
our-
O'Brien,
Oh, yeah.
trying to signal something, but I had no idea what he was talking about. So thank you for speaking up, O'Brien.
We should all learn sign. Then we can
I
message
turned
know
mine
you.
a little
on
bit.
too, because I was like, it's hot as balls up here. It's very hot in here today.
Very
And turn it off. Sorry, O'Brien. Okay, so you started at
Campaign
when?
2, yeah, Campaign 2, and kind
When
of.
did that start?
Sorry?
When did that start?
January 2018.
There you go.
Oh.
2018.
Okay.
So just yeah. Before I'd started working here, but when it came to Filthy Lot and saw what was going on, I really made sure I had to I need to I need to dig deep into some lore here. For
You kind of jumped in with both feet.
Oh yeah. I don't watch TV anymore. Let's put it that way. I haven't watched a lot of movies. It's just like I'm going to watch some Critical Role or some weird Dungeons and Dragons lore video. So.
Well, I know that when you joined us, we were at a stage. So we actually, I should mention this quickly before we get, because we could very easily get lost in the weeds about Critical Role. Today was also a monumental day at a Filthy Lot, in that today was the final day of principal photography for reenactments on Ready to Roll, Season 1. So a bittersweet day, very much so, because it was sad to stop doing the thing we've been doing and committing so much of our time to, but also very exciting because it means we're that much closer to releasing it to you guys at home. And so that you're aware, no official release dates, but we're looking at releasing gameplay. I should make this announcement right now, actually. Due to COVID, we had to pivot hard, and we are not releasing the show as it was envisioned, and we'll talk about that more. But we shot the gameplay in August, September of 2019. And the idea was to take sections of the show and do reenactments in full fantasy live action, like as amazing as we could try to pull off with all of our skills combined. And COVID hit, and we tried as best we could, but we got hit real hard by that. So we had to cut our losses. We've shot a fair bit of reenactment stuff, and we're going to release the gameplay as gameplay. So we got 27 episodes. They're only an hour long each. It's a little bit more digestible in short form. And then we're going to take all the footage from the reenactments, and we're going to be finishing those and releasing that as vignettes, what we're calling vignettes, with interlaced gameplay, reenactments, live action, so you can see what the vision was supposed to be. And we're aiming, hopefully, we'll get gameplay out by August, late summer kind of thing is where we're looking at, to release the gameplay to you, and we're very excited about that. So, sorry, I just had to get that all out of the way.
Of course. It's huge.
Well, because Andrew you're watching Critical Role.
That's what tricked me.
You joined our team, and then you've just been all D&D since.
Sorry?
You've just been D&D since.
It's getting weird. Yeah, I'm running out of room I've completely forgotten about sports or things like current events. Just kind of get bumped out of my brain. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's just D&D. Got to do D&D, and especially with the one shots too. It's very, a lot of the models and stuff. They take a lot of work to produce.
Yeah,
Tim and his team is like they
you're
knock them
part
out
of
of
it.
knock them out of the park really fast, but it takes a lot of work. And so that's half my work. Half our work week some days is Dungeons and Dragons, and it's
That's
amazing.
Yeah. Real
Those are
hard.
the days when I'm just like, oh, nose to the grindstone.
I tell friends what we do nowadays, and they're just like, "What? How is this possible?" I'm like, "I'm not really sure, but I'm just gonna."
Yeah?
I keep on showing up to work. I'll tell you that much. I like getting up in the morning.
But the thing that made me spiel big time, sorry about that, was when you started here, we were at a stage with Ready to Roll where we had to take our gameplay and painstakingly go through and listen to all of the gameplay and do transcriptions of every word said at the table, because that basically became our continuity for our script, like our overall continuity for the season, so that we had all of our departments able to reference everything that happened.
What a job.
And it was
Huge.
painstaking, but everyone else was seemed tortured by it, and you were the only person that was super enthused.
I liked doing it. For one, it was like it was a really, you could follow along the story a little more, because you'd have to listen to the same sentence sometimes 3 or 4 times, sometimes more. There's a lot of cross chat. There's a lot of chat going on.
Yeah.
And I didn't know a lot of the characters' names. I didn't know everyone here, so I couldn't pick out their voices as easy as I could now. But it was really interesting just watching the story develop, and especially when you're typing it all out, it really gets in your head. So I was in it. Right.
Yeah.
It was a great story. I really love where this is going. So.
Oh, there you go. That's a great plug.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
I think the funniest thing about all that was because we had to divide it amongst so many people to actually get it done. I'd be talking to people later, and they only know what happened in some random episode, but don't know what happened before or after. And so they're talking to me about things, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's because of this. And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it took me a little while because I was one of the people, and I'm sure you'll see, I bring in the encounter maps, and I was just sitting right outside of the door for most of it, just waiting to hear the little bell ring. So I'm half listening for the bell and trying to listen to what's going on at the same time. It was not until I later got to watch and work on some of the sets that we made that were I really got to understand what happened. And I was just like, Roz, where are you from? What planet? Where did you and Matt come up with all of this? How did that kind of turn? How did that come to be? Where did Ready to Roll really stem from? If it was it Critical Role that got that fire started? Because I'd be interested, because that really lit some of my fire for being a DM especially. So I'd be curious to what you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about my start with Critical Role and then kind of lead into it, and then we'll hear yours, because I want to know
Okay.
where you started with the show. But we got into D&D kind of just right before Critical Role stuff, and then we joined watching the show kind of midway through Campaign 1. And then,
Towards the end of Campaign 1.
yeah, I guess it's
It was,
115
just before they started
episodes, so
doing
same
the
idea. It's really long.
one-shots.
So we started there, and then we started going back, and it's not really the same show now quite that
Oh,
it was
oh my goodness,
in the
no.
beginning. And you
Not
really
at
see
all.
the evolution of just the quality of their production, a lot of the elements that make a great on-screen show. But from the very beginning, Matt Mercer is the DM that we all kind of strive to be. And lots of people talk about the Mercer effect.
Right,
And
yeah.
don't compare yourself to him. He's a professional voice actor. He's amazing at storytelling and just building a moment. His NPCs are so rich and so diverse.
Absolutely.
He's also been DMing since he was 15, so
Yeah.
It shows.
yeah.
So yeah, Ready to Roll was my first. I had DM'd for friends, dicking around your living room, which is where every DM starts, just figuring it out, except for Andrew, who started live on
Yeah, live on TV
So
with a
brave.
group of DMs.
Why not just jump
as
in
his
feet
players.
first? Yeah.
Killed it, man.
Yeah.
Killed it. This is a lovely set that we built.
Yeah, it was
What
great.
a great
I couldn't have
concept.
done it without
That's
you guys.
just you
too.
brought someone to yourself. Oh, we'll talk about you later. You're amazing.
It's fine. Enough about me.
Yeah, we jumped
Enough about
in
me.
and we were playing a few games here at the office and having fun and hanging out and because Trevor had never played D&D, but was I just know I'm gonna love it, and you did. We just
Yeah.
jumped in and started playing.
Well, Critical Role played a critical role in the evolution of Ready to Roll, in that I was made aware of it by my former roommate, Serena. Serena, what's up? What's up, Lake of Bombinky? If you're out there. But I had never played D&D, and I was made aware of that show because I think they had just started their Kickstarter, and for the cartoon, and like raised $11 million in the end.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Ridiculous.
I was told about that, and I was like, oh damn, okay, that's crazy. And it was the combination of knowing that it was like becoming more and more popular, that the fans were kind of rabid for it, and then we were starting this company. And hearing that Roz, who I'd worked with Matt and Roz on a project previously, and I was like, oh, I miss those guys. I love those guys. And hearing from a friend that Roz was a DM, and I went, Roz DMs? Wait, what? And then, it was just, we need to do something D&D. We could get Roz to DM. We could teach them. We should do live reenactments. Like, it was all like craziness. So the Critical Role definitely
Snowball would be a
sparked
real
our
understatement to
stuff.
describe the evolution of this show, from just like tiny, beautiful snowflake crystal to the just ridiculous juggernaut Snowball that avalanched and then slammed into the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What an experience.
I wanted to, I know you wanted to ask about, well, let's get into this first, because you were asking about Tim's first Critical Role, sort of like, when did you start watching them?
Yeah, it was. I guess it was pretty close to the end of campaign 1.
Oh, okay.
I had spent a lot of years thinking I was a real cool guy who like didn't play tabletops and really deprived my life of what has turned out to be something I really, really love, and started playing with a group of my friends a few years previous, and they had been like kind of pushing the show, like watch Critical Role, and I was like, I don't really YouTube that much, I'm that guy still. So then, a few years later, after playing D&D and kind of falling in love with this idea of being a collaborative storyteller and kind of coming together with a group of people to really like lock into like the mechanics, which always really excited me. Like I really loved the mechanics of the game. And then seeing Critical Role kind of as campaign 2 really kicked off, and like the hype around that, I went back and watched all of campaign 1 in probably like, 2 weeks. It was just savage. Like it wasn't working. Film industry, sometimes you're not working for a few months, and it's just like, I just crushed it. And some of it was at 1.5 because I was just like, I really need to get all of this in so I can catch up to campaign 2. And by the time I got back to campaign 2, it was at about like episode 50. And I just jumped in and again, just ate it all right to catch up. And I've only fallen behind once or twice, but like it is definitely something that is like regimented in my life. Tonight is like
that their today's finale, they have a 7-hour long episode.
7 hours.
That's just.
Yeah.
And that they talk. I think it was Trevor or Mercer, Travis or Mercer. Someone's posting about it being like that kind of classic feel of being at somebody's house and you play until you're tired.
And then
of
you're
playing.
like, okay, well, I guess we'll call it. We should order some pizza. Oh, it's closed. It's 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, great.
Whoops.
I guess we should have put a clock in here because
It's now tomorrow.
The sweat is palpable.
Full day.
It's just like the nerd.
So this is where I'm gonna just like ask the question and then have no frame of reference. But for you guys are both up to date, so predictions on how you think the show is going to end, and what do you want to see happen in this finale?
I am totally fine with spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Well, we talked about it actually a little bit earlier. We're just like, well, let's try and keep in mind we don't want to ruin anything for the audience, because I know there's a lot of their audience is struggling to catch up because they don't have the, grace of being unemployed to like sink all those hours into it.
Yeah.
So I would say personally, my prediction is it's going to be a very emotional goodbye. I'm not sure I've had quite enough of my beer to like handle it, but like I don't think I'm going to get through the whole thing tonight, but I'm definitely looking forward to like kind of being there while it starts and kind of getting that like live at the table feel, which is like, so important to what they do. And it's just predictions for the future, I don't know. I'd really love to see them explore more creative avenues and explore more games. I think them as a group and even them as individuals, as performers, can lend a lot to other types of formats and tabletops that are just wonderful and uplift them as well. I expect to see a lot of D&D kind of through some of them, but I don't know necessarily if they'll all be back for a campaign 3. And honestly, I don't blame them. 8 years solid, unrelenting of carrying that weight and taking 5th edition into the mainstream.
Yeah.
And not only just taking it there, but standing your ground.
They hammered it into the mainstream. I think like there's people like really when in our world, D&D seems all-encompassing almost at this point.
Yeah,
right?
totally, dude.
When we leave, Railway Street, a lot of people have like they might have heard of what it is, but they don't know what it is. So it's still a kind of a niche market. I think they only have about 1 million followers on
It's
YouTube.
crazy when it happens though, because you went to do a pickup for film stuff when we were shooting Ready to Roll and recognized someone wearing, or she had Critical Role stuff. Somehow you were like, you just made this connection when you're like, I'm picking up stuff for my D&D show.
Oh, yeah. I just, it's just, also, I hang out in game stores and stuff like that now. So I put myself into positions where I can like have these conversations with just random people. Yeah, I remember the first time I saw a random critter in the wild. I was working at a beer store and someone came in and they had, I can't remember what shirt it was, but it was definitely a Critical Role shirt. And I was like, hey, you know this weird little thing that I know. And we sat and had a conversation for about 20 minutes and just going over. He's like, oh, you're a little behind still. Like, wait till you catch up to this and wait till you see this. But he was very respectful and no spoilers.
We were caught up at the time when Molly died. We were watching weekly when that happened.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
And that was like me in the living room just like throwing pillows and like just like losing my mind.
And it was so brutal because they weren't there. Like, and it just,
that was tough to have like a character death, like a PC death when there wasn't actually a couple of the actual characters there. The players there, they were a couple of them were off. Laura was having their baby.
And Trevor's baby.
Yeah, Laura and Travis. They were having.
So wait, I have no idea what's going on.
There's two. There are married couples that play the show.
Oh, okay.
As well, there's 2 married couples, and two of them had a child. Took some time off.
So they weren't at a session.
They weren't at a couple of sessions.
And someone died?
Where one of the main player characters, Taliesin Jaffe, his main character, who is spoilers. It's not spoilers now.
It's long enough ago.
His character, his name was Molly Mock. He gets killed. 100 episodes down the road, Molly Mock is the BBEG, the big bad end guy. So they brought it all the way back and 360'd all the way in. I won't get into what happened in the last episode because some people want to catch up, but it's very emotional. I'm going to go home tonight. I'm going to try to watch as much as I can. I'm gonna I know there's gonna be a sniveling mess by the end of it. Because also
Don't
I
look
know
at me.
because it's also the end of this journey and the end of this story, and like all stories got to end, but it sucks when it happens.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it can also be satisfying. It depends on how it wraps
exactly.
up. Like
It's a both. It's a
any
little of both.
long story.
Yeah, it's a column A, column B. It's
It's
sad to see them go, but I'm glad that they finally wrapped this up.
There was some
because
really satisfying stuff.
they could do
after-
more stuff. I want to see what's
Exactly.
next for them, though.
They did some stuff after campaign 1 that was like follow up on some of the things.
Oh,
so,
and Dallin's
like,
Closet.
They were the
Yeah,
best.
and the
Barrington's
wedding.
Brigade, like
so,
that
like,
was. They were arguably some of their best.
That was when they initially did Honey Heist and stuff, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, when they started to
believe so,
branch
yeah.
out to a few different games.
So wait,
yeah,
is this?
Cinderbrush
Because I know
as
that
well.
between campaign 1 and 2 they did one-shots. Is that what you guys are talking about?
A handful of
Yeah,
them.
they did a handful. They still do every now and then. They come
okay.
around and do a few different.
Was it like a
types of
fill in the
games.
gap kind of thing?
A
Between
little bit.
the
I think.
campaigns, it was to give Mercer time to do campaign 2. So it was actually like the other members that were DMing
Oh.
their first time. And
Okay,
stuff.
that's
lots
pretty
of them
cool.
took their own one.
Yeah.
They had their own 1 shots or 2 shots or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they take
Marisha
a
did
few
the Honey
breaks
Heist.
throughout the
They're
year.
awesome.
Yeah, the honey
What was
hikes
that?
were good.
They take a few breaks throughout the year, and like
Oh, and just
usually
do some
these
one
kind of
shots
like
for fun.
land in those like Honey Heist. Like they're great. We played Honey Heist as well. Like it's just such a great format, and that's what I mean about the future of Critical Role. I know I've heard them say multiple times that they'd love to just see somebody in the community kind of rise to take that position, be it Critical Role or another thing, and become educators and mentors in that arena to like really uplift what tabletops can do, especially now as we're like getting back together and the world is kind of like, returning to a new normal, and that new normal looks a lot to me like rolling dice with my best friends around a table and having so many good laughs, and like stuff like One Shot or Not has been, it's just building that anticipation. And as Critical Role comes to an end, I almost like don't feel that same sadness, because now we got this weekly thing every Tuesday that, we're building these beautiful miniatures as like a group, and building these campaigns and playing, giving new DMs an experience that, few people have the opportunity to, whether, Andrew really liked it or not, I don't know. But like as a producer,
I told you I was going to do it, and I did it. I did it.
And you killed it. You did such a good job.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask. It's been a bit of time now, and if you haven't seen it, it was a couple weeks ago on One Shot or Not. Was it 2 weeks ago? I have no idea.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
So time
2 weeks
is
ago
soon.
Tuesday.
3 weeks now, because
So
we did.
Andrew DM'd his first game.
Every week's the same.
You can check that out. It might not be on Twitch anymore, but you can check out A Filthy Questline on YouTube. And what was the name of that episode?
Carnival of Chaos.
Carnival of Chaos. So first time DM, a bunch of experienced DMs as the players, and some time to process since that's been there. Maybe you watched it, but
I did.
Reflecting on it, how do you feel about that episode and about that game?
I was happy with the way it turned out. I mean, like, it couldn't have gone any better than it did.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Slammed
I still got a lot to learn. Things just like timing is difficult, balance is difficult, keeping the characters kind of in without railroading, but keeping them in your story path that you want.
Well, I mean,
to go.
It really is
tough.
trial by fire, because you're not just learning to DM, you're learning to host a show. Like, that's the crazy thing.
It was
like,
a lot more
one
than-
shot. Like
Yeah.
one shots, like it literally I've been DMing
Yeah.
for a decade, and a few weeks ago was my first one shot, and it was like super rushed at the end, and I'm just like, the fact that you like fit yours in, and yeah, exactly.
I
It's
rushed it at the end. There's a
it's that
certain
last,
point.
like, is that last like 5-minute scramble where you're like, I got 10 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
how do I wrap this up? And then like 8 minutes later, you're like, okay, I got 5 minutes. Like, yeah.
burn it all to the ground.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
yeah. You run, I don't know, roll a die. Maybe you live. I don't know. I don't know your story.
I was just playing it as fast and loose as I could.
that's a key.
I was just trying to give everybody lots of chances to roll their dice and kind of fool around a little bit in the space that we had built. And I think it went well. I had about a 2-day brain hangover afterwards. Just because I hadn't really flexed a lot of those mental muscles since high school, let's say.
Okay.
Really,
Crazy the difference it makes, because I know I had run like home games, and then Ready to Roll was my first time where it was much more formal, and there was all of a sudden cameras, and the first few minutes, especially around here, because we're all so good friends, that people come running over to you, they have questions, they're like, hey Andrew, did you want this mini or this mini? And it's like being a director, and people are coming at you with all this stuff, and you're just like, I can't remember my own name right now. I can't answer your question. I don't know what's happening. And so I had to tell everybody, I'm like, don't talk to me in the 5 minutes before Ready to Roll starts, because I can't answer your questions.
No, you need to focus.
I'm focusing.
Yeah.
And then I had 6 players, and it was probably the first time that I've had so many like independent spirits, just beautiful little weirdos who are really hard to wrangle. And they want to talk over top of each other, and they all have things they want to say and do. And every moment it was just like, everyone shut up for 5 seconds. NPC needs to tell you something. And they just like don't care. They're just like, they're going, they have their mind made up, all theories are flying. And I would get home at the end of the day, and I'm sure Matt can tell you guys, but I would get home and just be like, shoes, pants, bra, off, feet, up, brain, I don't care. Just like blast mindless TV at me, and I need a martini, and I need a glass of water, and I need no one to talk to me for 10 whole minutes. It was
that's
wild.
fair.
You'll get it. You'll be there. You're gonna do one eventually.
Yeah,
God, yeah.
we'll definitely feed him to the machine.
yeah,
Well,
for
now,
sure,
now that we've
be broken.
now that we've finished with at least principal photography and ready to roll, I got a bunch of work ahead of me in post, but I'm definitely going to do a trial by fire as well because I've never DM'd. I'm very much looking forward to it. And something you were talking about earlier about Matt Mercer being the DM we all want to be. Now I'm dedicated to not watching any Critical Role until after I DM for the first time because I don't want that to be any kind of influence on me. I'm going to be
It's not a
whatever
bad
I want to
influence.
be.
It's a good
Yeah,
influence
well,
to
yeah.
have. Yeah.
He's a good
It's
influence.
actually pretty
yeah.
inspiring to
Yeah.
see someone do that. You know, it's like watching anyone who's performing at a high level. Part of you's like, I'm super jealous and hate this, but mostly it's inspiring to go and get better yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
As
But
good
I
as
still
he is
stand by.
at
While I
as good as he
have
is
your
at building the
attention, we
moment.
have a question from
Oh shit.
Questions.
the audience, and it is for Tim.
Tis I.
What minis have you and your team enjoyed making the most for One Shot or Not?
Oh my God, what a great question.
Man, so many minis.
I mean, I don't deal mostly with the figures because I'm really bad at the small stuff. But I did love actually this Star Wars set in the canyon because I built a little pump a little pump
For the water.
system and had like the sewage drainage kind of come out every few seconds thanks to the wonderful Casey who's kind of running that manually. And then my team did such a great job of like bringing these X-Wings to life. And it was a Star Wars campaign for the Star Wars X-Wing Heist Part 1. Part 2 just released last week, so catch up on that.
This week?
Awesome,
This
awesome.
week,
Yeah, it's
and first
2 days
player
ago.
deaths.
It feels like
it's out there
forever
now.
ago, but it
Yeah,
was 2 days
yeah.
ago.
well, 1 day. Yeah, 2 days ago we shot it. 1 day
Yeah.
ago it dropped. I guess that's this week in the world of that. And thank you, Marisha Ray from Critical Role for being such a huge inspiration for me, bringing One Shot or Not to life, and just being such a hard worker and just such great endurance. I just love you so much, and you've been a huge inspiration. This one is definitely one of my favorites because I painted a canyon. I didn't know I could do that.
It's awesome.
We should talk a bit about that because they went from being partnered with Geek and Sundry, because I think that what happened, based on some cursory like looking into the history of Critical Role, but I think Ashley Johnson was chatting with Felicia Day and telling her about like.
I looked up the history just
did you?
today.
Yeah.
So they were playing a game just for the sake of
Themselves.
playing a game as a bunch of like voice actors. They were like, let's do this thing. I think it started for one of their birthdays.
Liam's, yeah.
Okay, so it was somebody's birthday, and they decided, let's start playing a D&D game together, and it was ongoing for a while, and then Ashley told Felicia Day about it, and she said, can we film this? Would you want to stream this to the internet? And that's how it became.
Right, yeah, and they were playing Pathfinder originally, and they were already level 9 when the campaign 1 started.
Yeah, and it said they had
Yeah.
to convert their characters to D&D 5e.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that they could get the
Yeah,
like,
and
have
they
the rights
invented
to
a bunch
put it
of stuff to do it, like a great DM does.
Yeah,
Like,
he had
just
to do up the whole the gunslinger system. So that's like a
Yes, my
whole
husband
class.
is a gunslinger.
And God bless Felicia Day. God bless Felicia Day.
Capri says
we
that
wouldn't be
it's
here.
Liam and Laura's birthday.
They're
the
birthday
same
twins.
birthday.
Oh, there you go.
Birthday twins.
That's why they played twins in the campaign, right?
so cute.
Also, while we're talking about Critical Role, specifically right now, we have a question asking what characters, including NPCs, from Critical Role would each person most like to experience life as for 1 day, body swap style?
Gilmore.
Pumat.
Hands down, Gilmore.
You're such a Gilmore.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would love that.
You're
Just
definitely a
soaked
Gilmore.
in silk and sexy as ever.
I think Pumat Soul because there's like 4 of him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Prime experiences like the memories of everything, but I mean, like, just imagine the amount of work you could get done if there was 4 of you in 1 day.
Yeah.
Just killing it.
Keg.
Keg?
Keg?
Oh,
Keg's awesome.
wow, yeah, awesome.
I want to smoke a cigar, and I want to kiss a sexy lady, and I want to just
little
like
goatee.
kick ass and have a sweet beard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. I have not watched the show, so I got nothing for you, and I apologize.
What was the crab? Henry Crabgrass was a really
Oh yeah,
good one
Henry
the last-
Crabgrass. I'm sure they'll probably.
I don't know if
go
you've
meet
seen
him,
Henry
but-
Crabgrass yet, Roz.
That's one of my predictions for the last episode. They'll
Henry
probably go
Crabgrass
to
comes
Molly's
back.
grave and go and see
Yeah.
Henry Crabgrass.
They had some
for sure.
talking consent.
Yeah, consent.
Demanding,
The consent
not
grass.
demanding,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Quick question about where they're at for this finale. What level did they reach as characters?
Well, I imagine they'll kind of like come to 16 after, because
okay.
they just kind of finished the big bad,
16.
and it's like the goodbye episode. So I would assume they were 15 going in. They're probably 16 coming out, but it's like kind of
But
probably
they started
pretty
at
loose.
3,
Doesn't
right?
really matter at this point.
No, they started at 1.
They started
They
at 1.
won?
They were
They
Oh,
started
geez.
at 1.
very fresh.
Okay.
Campaign 1, I think they started at 9.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
9. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So something I want to talk about before, because we'll run out of time if we don't do it now. But starting next Tuesday, in place of where we would normally have One Shot or Not, we are doing the first episode of our own campaign called Shadows of Blood. Altero Shadows of Blood, right? Did you just... Okay, I'm like, did you just not speak and just mouth something? Stop it!
That's not helpful, Roz.
I'm doing my own like hype
Either
man
you
demo.
succeeded in stealth or he failed in perception. I'm not sure what
It's
happened
like,
there.
how is the audio not working? Wait, this is real life.
Yes, Altero, Shadows of Blood,
Okay, so...
episode 1 of a campaign.
And you're DMing, and oh crap, the only person that's not here right now is Cheyenne, who's going to be one of our players.
Yep.
But otherwise, Tim is playing, I am playing, Matt is playing, and I have no idea what's in store. Without any kind of spoilers for us as players, can you tell the audience anything about what to expect from the campaign?
No.
I should have told you I was going to ask you this question beforehand.
Yes, okay. The players are going to show up in a very dangerous, grim, wet, rainy, misery, in just all of that stuff in one little town. And it is at the edge of a terrible effect of dark magic.
What? Sorry? What?
Yep, dark magic. Something horrible is happening in the country of Aderjan, and it is fueled by grief. And all of the players are going to be tasked with even leaving the first town. No one does, or they die. And that is the start of your journey.
Oh, cool.
Get the hell out of town.
Yep.
Sweet, I love it.
And then you guys are going to go on a journey through the country of Aderjan, which is where the capital city is, or one of the major cities is Lendar, which is the home of a bunch of vampires who make wine, and even they are scared of what's happening. And then you guys are going to go and find a bunch of other things that I can't say anything about, but I can say that at the end of all of this, you're going to face something that Sam, who is one of our DMs here,
This feels
and
like a
another
spoiler.
huge fan of Critical Role. Sam is helping me design those final bosses. So they are custom and new and unique to us.
Ooh. So no cheating. We can't cheat, even if we wanted to.
I'm sure we're going to
Try.
fail to check for traps and die immediately.
Yeah.
So I hope that another party can see the end of it.
Don't forget those percentage
as
checks.
much as I know we're going to have a crazy time, I am even more excited for the story to unfold because every brief glimpse that I get is just a little bit more anticipation for it, especially because we're going to be critterless. We're going to be wayward children let loose upon the world with nothing but our dice to guide us. So I am very much looking forward to Roz's campaign and finding out exactly what is in the Shadows of Blood.
Word. I'm there's going to be, so yeah, if you're a Critical Role fan, after tonight, after you've watched the finale, if you're up to date, there's, as the title of this episode is, there's going to be a Critical Hole. And we hope to, I can predict where I was about to go.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
You don't want
Want
to
to
say
put that back in?
We're gonna help lessen
We're
the
here to
void?
fill your hole.
How do I
Is
say
that
this
a
without
dex
sounding
save? I
dirty?
think it's a dex save. I don't know. This one might be Constitution,
Or a
but you
wisdom
haven't said
save?
it yet. Yeah.
But
can just say it, though.
I mean,
He has naturally high charisma. It's fine.
the landscape will be lacking, but they've set up this world for a bunch of other people, a bunch of creative storytellers, a bunch of improvisers to make something cool and to share their stories with the world.
Absolutely.
And we hope to be able to do that and potentially pay homage and say thank you for leading the way. And here's something else. And that's also what, I mean, I'm excited to start Shadows of Blood, very much so. So technically, we're going to have 2 campaigns coming at you. One of them starts next week, and it'll be a long-form, more traditional D&D, ready to roll later in the summer, where you're getting something that was, we tried to find a balance, because part of why I haven't actually watched a full episode of Critical Role, is because
Shame.
it felt like a numb slog to me. As someone who wasn't a player, to watch other people play a game that I didn't love yet, I was like, it's just locked off cameras. It's just them talking, and I was like, man. So that's why Ready to Roll has as a bunch of filmmakers, we wanted to bring a higher production value to gameplay, because the storytelling is good, but it's just sitting there. I was like, man. So we had Livingston wanting to innovate the camera moves, because he was like, I can't watch just locked off cameras for 4 hours. What the hell? And so he had the idea to make everything a circular set. Like, we want to do crazy evolutions. We're not doing that with Shadows of Blood. It is going to be a little bit more traditional. But
Hell
now
yeah.
I love the game. So there's a big. So at some point I will.
It's funny
watch
talking
Critical
to us up here, because we're just like, yep, I just watched the hour count of content, and yeah, maybe sped up a bit, or I sometimes skip the announcements, or those sorts of things. But honestly, I watched the art at the end.
Yeah, oh my God, the fan
so
art
good.
in the middle and
Or
the
in the
fan
middle,
art at the
in the
end.
break, depending
Okay, I
on
don't
the
know what you're
format
talking about. Please tell me.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up is related to that. We have a friend who doesn't even play D&D, that just loves Critical Role so much that he writes music and submits it to them. So some of the music playing over the fan art and stuff is his.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't play D&D at all.
That was originally actually one of the main things. I'd played D&D as a young boy, actually, back in, it was...
Cough, it's fine.
Whatever, I'm old, it's fine. But it was really being an artist and enjoying character creation, and that really got me into, because I'm like, how do I make a cool drawing? Well, I need to know what this person does. And so it was, okay, I'm just gonna fart around in some D&D stuff. And they're like, oh, well, I could just make a really cool character right there, and I got a backstory and everything like that. And that was one of the things that really pulled me in, was strong character development.
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
great. And that
Well,
was
just
kind
like
of sold me.
understanding, especially that you can really commit to your character and play it, and maybe not roll the best, maybe not have the best game, but come out of it satisfied because you played your character and
Although,
Yep.
I've seen Laura roll a bunch of low rolls in a roll and then just be a swear machine.
yeah.
She just can't. And she's the
True.
she's the mom on the show. But
Yeah.
She's also got she's
Moms can swear.
she's the dirtiest player
She is
on there,
the
filthiest one.
in her head, dirty.
I mean,
mind.
nobody forgets the cupcake move when you guys get there.
Oh yeah.
Next level, that was pure D&D. I had saw one of maybe arguably 5th edition's peak forms when she pulled that move, and it was just so unexpected. But that is it. That is the core and the essence of, especially being at the table with a group of people, the unpredictability and the complete
trust.
chaos.
they
and then
trust
the
each other
trust.
so much.
And then
It's
the
beautiful.
commitment, yeah. And then it's just I'll let you take that whole scene and just destroy this episode and flip everybody's brains upside down because they're in love with the characters, and hopefully, on One Shot or Not and Altero, we can strive to be close to that. And that's what makes me very happy.
think
It's
there's,
a great opportunity.
I don't want to get if I get his name wrong, Matt, help me. But Seth Sikowski? What's his last
Skorkowski.
name?
Skorkowski.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he talks a bit about being, worrying that his friends were playing in another campaign with another DM, and that everybody was saying, oh, well, when this guy does this, it's so good. and he was feeling worried about having a similar thing like a Mercer effect with him. But
Right.
then he was finding out that the other DM was having the same problem because the players were talking about what he was good at. And so he tells that story of just, those moments that we all excel at different things, and then you can take those moments that you see someone else do, and, I watch you DM and I want to steal that. I want to be like, oh my gosh, Tim's energy in those moments, and the
Yeah,
way he can
I
just
feel the
like
same way
speed
about
up and slow down and just capture that energy and pull your players with you so that your players feel your excitement, your dread, all of those feelings that you exude just like by the way that you just move in and out of your storytelling moments. I just want to be able to do that. It's amazing watching
You don't think you do?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like you might actually need to watch more of you.
But I feel
DM,
like
because
we
you're
all-
amazing.
As we watch each other play and learn and get better at these moments, because they are, the thing that we're all watching, this Critical Role group, they're professional voice actors. So, they have a lot of this innate. They're really good at role play. They can yes and like motherfuckers. They're really good at that, but they trust each other and they know each other. And as we do more of that, we're going to absorb all these good elements from each other that we're
Yeah.
so good at.
I mean, what is
Andrew's
the- is it-
fearlessness. We're going to take that.
They say, what is it, 10,000 hours to become a professional at something? So the more that we do one shot or not, the more that we do our own campaigns, the more that will be a thing. And you already have a bunch of experience. You may be more of a professional than you think. Really?
Well, that's all of us. We've gone all in on this, and
Yeah.
I think you can see players leaving it out there. When they come and they join these tables, and you're leaving something that might have been a stressful day at work, and we make fun stuff for YouTube. It doesn't mean that we don't take it seriously. So you walk away from something that might have been a stressful moment, but you come and you sit down at the table and you still give yourself to the experience. And I was talking on a panel at Fan Expo back when we could still meet in person and have conventions about collaborative storytelling, and I think that's what I love the most about D&D, and I think what we capture with all of the tabletop games that we're choosing to feature here and play together. But it's an experience that you can't create by yourself, and that I don't think I get out of my video games that I love so much. I don't get the same way that no story survives a first encounter with your players. Everything falls apart and moves in different directions. And it's really fun.
So, and you also write. So I guess also not out of writing even, because then you're just it's just you telling a story.
And I think when you write because we write in Altero, and it's really fun that way, but we'll often take stories and then, what we think is a great storytelling moment, and then take that to a game. And then let the players figure out the rest of our story. And one of the novels that we read of Brandon Sanderson, is it Brandon Sanderson?
No, Steven Erickson.
Right, was like,
Malazan.
a whole novel series where he played a lot of D&D with his friends and then translated that into a fantasy series.
Well, and like even a great show like The Expanse, like that started as a story that those guys wanted to tell. They started kind of loving the idea of a tabletop RPG. So they built a tabletop RPG, they played it out, and it turned out that wow, this story was really strong. And they turned that into a novel form. And after the novel came out and was successful, they had the money to make the RPG a reality for themselves. And now there's an Expanse RPG. And when you really sit down and watch that show, you can really feel
that's
of course they're misguided heroes. That is what tabletop RPGs are about. Taking your narrow perspective and being a hero about it, but then having your mind blown every time, just every step of the way, just next phase of your mind being blown by either technology or politics or any other great things. And when you really break it down episode by episode, those are just D&D campaign settings. Those are just
Player choices, good and bad rolls, embracing those
a little party
narrative
of
moments.
extremely talented people that are all super good at a single thing, and they all use those skills in those moments. It is a story told through RPG, and I think it's a great modern example of what that kind of, I guess, I don't know what to call it, like free expression of creativity. It's almost like consequence free, as long as you're respectful to your table and respectful to your players, you can explore so many creative ideas that you have for no cost, like writing a novel or writing a script or something like that. There's like, oh, people are going to look at this, they're going to judge that. I got to make this right, I got to hit these marks. But in D&D and other tabletop narratives where you're building that story together, you really connect with a group of people to tell a story, which at the heart of it is what stories are all about, connecting with people. And I think it's just such a modern evolution of how we tell stories to one another together. And I think it's just such a cool way to explore that with dice and chance and random events.
I had to look at, because I don't watch the show, I know we're going to talk a lot about Critical Role. I literally looked at the Wikipedia page for Critical Role today. And something that they said that I thought was really interesting in there as a describer was that it's a revolutionary kind of platform whose business model is still developing. And I was like, that's a weird thing to put in there, but it's also true because it is something that, pre-pandemic, people doing D&D games probably would have put like a single camera on them sitting around a table and at home if they were going to do a thing like on Twitch,
right,
and just be like, this is us playing the game. And because Critical Role has that sort of like, here's these players, here's Matt Mercer, here's like an ad space that's sometimes the tabletop. That's kind of like become the pandemic version of all tabletop stuff.
Yeah, and they play in a group together in a room, be it spread out in COVID.
Yeah.
But, and a lot of people took that format that is, it's close and it's like, it's personal. And my experience with Critical Role has always been like, I feel like I'm at the table. When they laugh, I laugh. When they cry, I cry. When they're like in those moments, I'm in those moments too. I feel like, I'm not rolling any dice, but I'm there at that table with them. And like, that was just like revolutionary.
I wanted to ask something because we're running low on time. What was that?
Sometimes there'll be times when I'm watching an episode of Critical Role and I actually pull my dice out and just kind of roll along.
Seriously?
There has been times, yeah. I'm just
in campaign one,
they're just like, roll. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, in campaign one, every time a monster came up, I would open the monster manual because I was just like, how is he playing this? Because it's not what's in the book.
Oh.
And I'm like, I want to understand how he breaks it down because he's so experienced. How can I glean from how he built this encounter to build better encounters myself as a DM?
Oh, that's cool.
Andrew, you're probably the only player here who sought out tables, like you would join random tables.
None of my personal friends group plays D&D, yeah. So I initially jumped into just drop-in sessions, yeah.
Huh.
Totally different experience, or maybe the same. Is it always that we all love this, so we're all into it? And I've never played with like not a bunch of my friends.
It was interesting. Like you just have to know how to like deal with people for one. It's a bit of a learning curve because you don't want to rub people the wrong way. I remember there was one game that we were playing that I think my player character was really rubbing someone else, another player character, actually rubbing them the wrong way. I think actually maybe the actual player was actually starting to take it a little bit personally. So I had to tone it back a little bit because I didn't want to offend him. And I wasn't being like raunchy or obnoxious. I was being a little bit obnoxious, but that was the character.
Yeah.
Right. But I had to just make sure to learn how to read. When you're doing one-shots with people you don't know, you need to have to learn how to read them really fast.
Yeah.
Judge, or else it's going to get very unbalanced really quickly.
Yeah, and you don't want to put somebody else out because it kind of defeats the purpose of the whole game.
You need to know when to give the quiet person at the table their time to speak up and role play as well. It's not like just because you're the mouthpiece and you feel more comfortable in a group of random strangers doesn't mean you can just run the whole game. Like you have to sit back.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I played a few Adventure Zone kind of games like at the Tavern and or Adventure League, and yeah, I thought I knew the rules. Like when I sat down at the table, I was like, yeah, I got this. Like, nah. Like, no, there's like 2 or 3 dudes at that table that like, they know the fucking rules. And they're gonna lay it on you like as soon as you mess up and you're just like, whoa, this is intense. But it just, I think, shows the many facets of such a great mechanic. Again, like my love of of the game
endless.
is
it's almost endless. Really.
Yeah, the endless mechanics of it. You can always twist and form and make new things and be creative with a group of people and kind of find those moments that are really exciting.
Okay, we're real close to the end here. Oh, Matt.
I was going to say, before we go, we have a very important question to ask.
Mine might not be.
How many sets of dice do you each have? I've already answered that Roz and I have bags upon bags of dice, and her traveling dice are on the table in front of her. How about the rest of you?
I don't know. Some of my dice are on the table in front of us because I built this set, but like how many complete sets? I have no idea. Like,
I have 9 sets, and again, I'm a new player. I have 9 sets. Sadly, I've been scrambling for them all week, and 3 of them are missing.
Can't find any of them.
Which is horrible because one of them I need for my character next week, and I'm like, where the hell did they go?
This is the D20 of my Critical Role dice.
What?
Ooh, what?
So I purchased these ones, and so the 20 is actually the Critical Role symbol.
Nice.
When you crit with it, yeah.
Cool.
I got a set myself.
Andrew, I know you've got a bit of a...
I mean, like, during, like, hard pandemic lockdown, I would make a point of, my routine was to get out of the house every day, put a belt on, put your shoes on, leave the house, go do a walk. And I always ended up at a game store, and they weren't doing a lot of business, so I'm like, well, the least I could do is, like, buy a set of dice. So, I
Nice.
mean, like, I went from, like, 1 to about, I think I got about a dozen now.
Okay,
kind of thing.
you got me beat.
I like to buy, when you're playing different characters all the time, almost like for every one shot I try to do someone else. I always like to go like, well, I guess get some
Gotta
new
get my
dice for this
character
character,
dice,
or new
yeah.
dice for this
I
character.
fell into that trap hard.
Yeah.
Like I've only got a few characters, but they all have dice.
you buy the fancy ones too.
And it's true, yeah. Most of them. Well, that's the thing is like any of the sort of like lighter dice, I don't like the way they feel in my hand. I like the metal ones. I've got a bunch that are made of like gemstones. And like I knew I wanted to make a character that was going to be roughly the Joker. So I was looking for green and purple dice. And I was at, the last time there was a fan expo here, there was a vendor from Texas and she had amethyst dice. And I was like, so I bought a set of those. And those plus jade dice are his.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, you could start spending a fortune. There's
Literally.
a company now that makes like circular dice that are like counterweighted on the inside, and they kind of roll just a little bit, and then
I have
stop.
issues with those things. I don't know that I would allow them in
Neither
my
do
game
I.
Yeah, like
because they're not the same.
the clear ones with the stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just can't
How balanced are
believe
they?
that the balance is good. Like, not that every company does make perfectly balanced die,
Couldn't
but
you just like roll them enough and do sort of
One of the techniques is actually to put them in water.
yeah, and see
that
where
only
they
works with the
their
light
buoyancy.
resin dice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Metal ones are just gonna sink.
What about putting them in something that has a higher buoyancy so they float?
Mercury.
Yeah,
I'm
it would
not a
have to be
chemist.
like
I don't know anything. All I've seen
even for the
is
plastic
Terminator
ones, you have
2.
to add
I
a
don't-
bunch of salt to it to raise the density.
All the science you learned is Terminator 2.
So
Yeah,
it'd be
every-
hard to find one that
I don't know
those
the
have
tech
metal
stuff.
and stuff.
Okay.
So they would just sink
Oh,
unless
okay.
you were
Yeah, they
using
would just
some
sink.
sort of oil.
But you couldn't do like roll them a certain number of times and like record the stats to see.
I mean, sure. Are you
That's-
a human
that's not how
computer?
random numbers
like,
work.
No?
You could just like play a game and
Yeah.
be like, well, these dice are a bit hacked. They're always
Yeah,
D20,
like
or
you're
like they're
always
always a
rolling a bit.
9. I don't know. Like it feels like that's why you have so many die though. It's just like you roll a 1 and you're just like, fuck
These are
off.
crap.
Never again.
Dice jam.
And it's just
Dice
like, well,
jam.
yeah, like my
Did you have
my
one
one
last
shot.
question you want before you're out?
I couldn't
I
roll
did.
good.
Okay, I did. Yeah, we're almost done here. So I wanted to ask some of the key or pivotal moments from Critical Role's campaign for you guys. Like, what were the most impactful, most memorable moments from their campaign?
Jeez.
Let's
So
all
many.
pick.
Amazing.
Let's all pick like 2 tops.
Two tops. Okay.
I don't have to.
I like the great kind of comedy moments that like keep me like chuckling to myself like a week later, and I have to go back and look at them. There was one, a bunch of the team polymorph. They turned themselves into bats, and they're all dumb like bats all of a sudden. So they couldn't really focus on what they were doing, and they weren't like really expecting to have like a giant IQ drop all of a sudden. And they played it up for God, what, 20 minutes, a half
20
an
minutes,
hour?
yeah, just being bats, looking for bread.
It's hilarious. Yeah, bats like bread.
That sounds fun.
That's one of my personal favorite ones.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely,
Sure.
man. That's a great one. Yeah, I mean, I liked the moment that Molly died a little bit, like as a bit of a
tearjerker.
blasphemous, because it was like, it's just like hard ending narrative stuff that like really makes unforgettable moments in a campaign,
Makes
and
sense.
like that kind of stuff is like really, really powerful. I also really loved the whole thing between Ford and Ivanka, the pirate queen, who like kind of came into that campaign and like
And
the midpoint. Yeah.
watching Laura's face as Jester, while Ford and Avantika are are together.
Endless
Together.
Yeah. Yeah, where they're RPing a romantic scene, and
Oh, wow.
like his wife is there, but he had to sit through an entire campaign of her having a romantic relationship with one of the other players. They got they got married, they had kids, like it was all part of the game. Yeah, and
You
and
should
like
marry
to see.
for love, but also it's great if he's rich.
Yeah, yeah.
camping
Slayer's cake for life. And they, that's one of my favorite parts was that like little arc. They're like, kind of like doing a pirate thing, and it was just like, I just loved it because all the characters got to like explore some really fun stuff, and that was like the part in the campaign that shifted away from the long plot to the individual stories, and like there's so many good moments in there.
I think in campaign 2, I would pick Kiri, the little
Oh my God!
kangaroo.
Yeah. Go
she's-
fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
She's so cute. Those moments are so beautiful. But also, every time Laura, as Jester, writes to the Traveler, everyone else just shuts the fuck up for that moment. She's by herself. She communicates to her god by making little letters at night, and she does these like beautiful little moments where she remembers the day from her own perspective, and she writes these little messages, and they're so usually just like heartbreakingly tender and genuine and just so wonderful.
Endearing.
And everyone just, they're experiencing her amazing ability to roleplay that character,
So
but
good.
at night by herself in her own private moments.
Yeah.
That's
Every
really
time
cool.
she does that, everyone is silent.
Yeah,
they're all-
and like for every person in the audience out there, like this is a very well recognized award-winning actress slaying her character. Like so, like
slaying.
never hold yourself to that standard. Only practice to get there.
But it's,
Like
you could be like, oh, one day.
yeah, oh yeah, and
One day,
Laura,
I'll have a cupcake
Liam,
of my
like
own.
that, and Taliesin, they're all just so in it all the time.
When and then are they
Oh
all?
my God, let's
all
just say
the rest
everybody's
of
name.
the-
Sam,
Oh.
Travis, Matt, and all of their guests. And just,
Yeah,
I was
oh,
talking to
yeah.
Alan earlier, Shikasta.
Yeah, she cast
Are the rest of the players when she does those? Are they all like super pro at not letting anything she says affect anything that their character knows?
yes.
Some of them are better about it than others. Her
Yeah, they
husband
do
is
their
probably
best.
the least good at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or like the next day comes and just like, so you don't like me, huh?
Oh
Like,
no,
that
they're
kind
never
of
like
thing?
that. But you know,
They just know little
In their
insights?
ways, yeah, in their
Okay.
ways, they're human. So
she has
they
the
met
ability.
up.
She can cast a message, so she'll send messages home to her mom,
Oh.
the Ruby of the Sea, and she'll send messages home, but she only has like 20 words, right?
Yeah.
But she'll keep going. So she'll tell a whole story, and Mercer's like, and everyone, the whole group of them is
Oh,
counting.
they're counting.
And they're like, okay, sure, none of this
guns.
is getting through. But
Yeah,
she
it
keeps
ended
going.
on and.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're super confused.
Or are you pooping?
yeah. Oh, hey,
letters?
you
Are
know,
you pooping?
it's me,
Jester.
and it's just like, well, that was 12 words.
So many words.
Okay.
Sorry, we love the show.
It's me. No, okay. We're past time.
Oh, damn.
I apologize.
That was fast.
2 more hours. Here we go.
Quick plug. Next week, as mentioned earlier, Tuesday, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time until 6:30. First episode of Shadows of Blood. Altero, Shadows of Blood, episode 1. And yeah, what else is happening next week? Anything? My brain is mush.
Ready to roll stuff, maybe? We get ready to
As far as I'm concerned, that's all that matters.
We're shooting the 3rd episode of Procedural Nudity.
Oh yeah, we are shooting that
we're
week.
shooting
Oh
that.
man, that's gonna be a big week for me.
That's great for us, but it doesn't help the audience yet. When is
Okay, so Procedural Nudity, work title maybe changing, but it's about 3 workers who are just like employees in a video game, and their job is to put loot in the loot chests, kind of before the game loads. So we got 3 episodes in one of our amazing Ready to Roll sets that we all built together, and it's just kind of like a fun, office-y spin on, what it would be like to be a program in a video game. And I think it's really funny. There's a lot of in jokes for any gamers out there. They're gonna love it.
So that'll be coming soon. Next, Shadows of Blood next week, and then again, Filthy Talk next Thursday. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay filthy.